the way he treats his opposition leaders is the same way he wants to bring to South Sudan. That is what is really scary. This is the veteran, formerly his friend and colleague in the NRM, the way he's being treated as the opposition leader is the way Museveni wants to bring to South Sudan. That is really scary. Hello everyone, welcome again to KuirthiyTV. For those of you who have not subscribed, please subscribe to support the channel. We're doing okay with subscribers. So this video is about the statement that was said by the former Prime Minister of Kenya, Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga was sent by President William Ruto of Kenya on behalf of IGAD. IGAD is the regional leader that involves countries such as Ethiopia, Somalia, Djibouti, Kenya, South Sudan, Rwanda. So that's the regional bloc. So he was sent about the crisis in South Sudan to sort of see if there is a peaceful way in which this crisis can be ended. And the main focus of Raila Odinga in Juba with President Kiir. So the main focus of Raila is this man, Dr. Riek Machar, who has been placed under house arrest by the government of South Sudan. So his arrest has raised tensions. So it is seen by regional leaders so that if he is released and the dialogue between him and the president is initiated, then there's a possibility that the crisis or war may be averted. So that's why they are focusing on this issue. Now I'm going to play a couple of clips about what Raila Odinga has said after meeting President Kiir and also meeting President Museveni. He has said something that has upset some South Sudanese, because it is something they don't like, but it has also upset some South Sudanese who are allied to the government that he said something he shouldn't have said. So, and we'll see, and I'll talk about what these things are. But let's see first of all what he said, because things easily get misconstrued, and also the social media has become really scary nowadays, and also because South Sudan is a country that is completely compartmentalized in terms of ethnicity, and also the political culture in the country is not developed, it's not matured, where people within the same ethnic group, can affiliate with different political ideologies. So people affiliate and they sort of congregate within the ethnic group. So let's see what he has said.
So I had a lengthy discussion with President Kiir, who told me about challenges they're facing, that there was a killing of a general and about 10 other people in the town of Nasir in the Upper Nile. And this is what they're actually investigating. And because of this, he said that Vice President Dr. Riek Machar had been placed under house arrest as they continue with their investigations. From Juba, I asked to be allowed to talk to Dr. Machar, but they were not able to allow me to see him. They recommended that I meet with President Museveni. So from Juba, I went to Entebbe and had a meeting with President Museveni. I reported to him what I had found in South Sudan. And after lengthy discussions, he said he was going to get in touch with President Kiir.
Now, there are a number of things he said that I want to touch on before I play the next clip. So he said Riek Machar is under house arrest as they investigate what happened in Nasser. So that's one of the reasons why he's placed under house arrest. So he requested that he be allowed to talk to Dr. Riek Machar, but they refused. And this is a word he used. Pay attention to the word he used. He said they recommended, that's the word he used, they recommended that he talked to President Museveni. Now, they didn't say that he talks to President Museveni before he talked to Riek Machar, but the way the statement was conveyed to him gives us that impression that they recommended that he talks to President Museveni after they've refused to allow him to talk to Dr. Riek Machar. So that is very problematic. I know he's very careful with his wording. So some people think he's very careless with how he said this, that he was, his request to talk to Riek Machar was refused. He's not very careless. He's very diplomatic. Everything he said is exactly how a diplomat should word his whole agenda. Now, the next clip I'm going to play is related to the detention and in the investigation. Remember, so many people during the funeral of the late General Major Dag, many South Sudanese politicians and military leaders were accusing Riek Machar of having ordered the army, the White Army. So they were directly linking Riek Machar to the death of the general, that he ordered them. Now look at what he says regarding that. Pay attention to his words.
Other accusations.
They have not said that Riek is involved. They're saying that some of his supporters, but they say that some militia who are linked to him, but they have not actually made a direct connection between him and the killing of the general. So we hope that they're going to finalize this matter as quickly as possible. They say that when I go back to Juba, they will allow me. But I've said I will only go back to Juba if they allow me to meet with Dr. Riek. And I don't want to tell you right now when I'm going to go back to Juba.
All right. So he said that they have not made the link. They are not saying Riek Machar is involved. That's why they are investigating to sort of establish that Riek Machar is actually involved. So what is the basis of him being arrested and put under detention? Why? If they've not made that link. So usually, and lawyers can correct me on this, you have to make your case before you arrest someone. You don't arrest someone and then make the case to prove it. So they have not made the case. So if they had some evidence, they should have shared that with the public so that we know Riek Machar is involved. And if that evidence is available, then I don't think many of us would say anything against it, because that is evidence that is provided. But as he said, they have not made the link between the White Army and Riek Machar regarding the order to kill the general. So they haven't made that connection. So we'll wait for the investigation. But that Riek Machar has been arrested before the investigation is something that is strange. You usually investigate, find the evidence, and then present the evidence. You say, okay, here's the evidence, and then you arrest someone, and then the case goes to court. But that's the way they see it. Now, here's where this becomes really worrying. Museveni is someone who has been leading Uganda for nearly 40 years now. And he's very dictatorial. The way he treats his opposition leaders is the same way he wants to bring to South Sudan. That is what is really scary. This is the veteran, formerly his friend and colleague in the NRM. The way he's being treated as the opposition leader is the way Museveni wants to bring to South Sudan. That is really scary. So when Raila says that he was told, or they recommended, that is his word, to go to Museveni, when this is what Museveni does to to opposition leaders, then that's really a scary future for South Sudan. That's why it should actually scare us. So Besigye has been going through and he doesn't want to move. He was asked recently as to why he does this, and he said he knows he wasn't going to win. He never won. It's not just him not winning, because Museveni knows he can never win because he controls all these power structures, economic structures. So Besigye wouldn't win. But he said he wants to make sure that that sort of a culture remains. One day, one time, it may happen, that Uganda may have true democracy. Now, you would assume that that would end with Besigye. But he's also doing the same thing with the young one. Bobby Wine is a musician, and he's trying to do exactly what Besigye did. He's facing the same. Recently, he was beaten up, and to the point that people thought he was dead. This is the culture Museveni wants to bring to South Sudan, and many of you think that is not something to be worried about. So South Sudan has become what we were fighting against in Khartoum. They've become the same thing. Political dissent is not entertained. Disagreement is seen as insult. Even correctives are seen as insults. This is what Museveni is bringing to South Sudan. It should scare the hell out of you. So it's not just about Riek Machar. Riek Machar is just an individual, and I've said that in other videos and in other comments, that Riek has shown, and you can read his colleagues, that he's a weak leader. He has good intentions, he has good ideas, but he doesn't know how to implement them. But if he's treated that way, then the treatment would not end with Riek Machar. The same method would be used against other South Sudanese within the country. That's why you should be worried. It's not just about Riek Machar. It's about the culture that is developed in the country. Now, and that brings me to also another concerning issue about the sovereignty of South Sudan. If the president of a sovereign country tells an envoy that go and talk to that president first, then how is South Sudan a sovereign country? You can say anything. I know in 2013, UPDF, the state army in Uganda, they saved the day in South Sudan. And I do agree there would have been a lot of bloodshed in South Sudan if UPDF did not get involved in 2013. They committed atrocities, but they also save a lot of bloodshed. But they are just mercenaries. They're paid. And imagine South Sudanese are not paid. Have they not been paid for almost I think almost now 15 months. It's more than a year. They are not paid. The South Sudanese army, SSPDF, is not paid. But then when there's a crisis, Kiir and his cohorts would go to Uganda and they bring UPDF. And then those people are not coming to fight for free. They get paid. Where is the money coming from? So the money that should have gone to development, the money that should have gone to our own soldiers, is going to foreign mercenaries. They're paid mercenaries. They're paid to come and kill South Sudanese. So you may say this is the reason because Museveni has the army that is in South Sudan. So he has the upper hand in terms of what happens when it comes to the crisis in South Sudan. He has the army. So Kiir is under his mercy. Maybe the reason. But also the risk of South Sudan becoming a suzerainty of Uganda. Not a sovereignty, not a sovereign country, but a suzerainty that is controlled by Museveni. You've seen in the news that some people have made this map of Uganda and South Sudan as one country. So South Sudan is acting like a suzerainty. It's like it's losing its sovereignty. Now, we all know what we need is peace. And some of you do believe that Riek Machar is an obstacle to peace. And you should watch that video, the last video I made. Arresting Riek Machar is not a solution. It's not a solution because what someone like me is worried about is not just what is happening today, is the precedents that are set by the way Riek Machar is arrested. You can see from what Raila Odinga said, the government of South Sudan has not made a direct link between the White Army and Riek Machar, and the Riek Machar, and also the killing of Majordak. They've not made that link. So if they have not made that link and they've arrested Riek Machar, then what is the ground? So this is what is scary, that people get arrested before they actually proven guilty. That's what we should be worried about. It's not about Riek Machar. It's about the country. So Raila is planning to come back to South Sudan. But as he said, he's only planning to come back only if he's allowed to talk to Riek Machar. And we also need to hear from Riek Machar. We have not heard from him since the general was killed, and we don't know his side of the story. It's just the narrative that is coming from the government that he is guilty. He ordered the White Army. This is what the generals are saying. This is what the government is saying. But we don't know his side of the story. First, they have not proven, they have not given us the evidence. They want us to believe what they're saying. But they don't want us to hear from Riek Machar. If Riek Machar is guilty, let him tell us his side of the story. What are they afraid of? They don't want him to talk to the media. They don't want him to talk to mediators, people who want to bring peace to South Sudan. Then the problem is not about bringing peace. The problem is about power. It's about eliminating Riek Machar by whatever means. We need peace. And we know our relatives now in South Sudan call us and they are scared. Should they leave or should they not? That's why some of us who live thousands of kilometers, miles away, we get worried because we have relatives in South Sudan. And whatever happens with these two men affects them. So it's not like some of us is going to sleep soundly, safe here, but we have relatives, we have friends who live in South Sudan, so we don't want this crisis. If the arrest of Riek Machar will bring peace, fine, but it will not, because we know, as I said in the other video, South Sudan is compartmentalized. So thank you. Do not forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.